This week on The Destination Angler.
They never seen a place like this. And they couldn't understand why science is not making research of a place so untouched. They said that they didn't see a place so untouched like these headwaters. There's no humans. I mean, nothing. That's really, it's difficult to explain, but believe me, you can sense it. You feel it. When you are there, you feel it.
And that was Marcelo Perez talking about the Tsimane region of Bolivia. Hey, if you like the show, please spread the word and tell a buddy. Welcome to the Destination Angler Podcast, the podcast for anglers who travel. And I'm your host, Steve Haig. We go right to the source, the local guides and experts, to build your knowledge of top fishing locations around North America. It's a big world out there. Now go and fish it.
I'm going away for a while, but I'll be back soon. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hey anglers, welcome back to another episode of The Destination Angler, brought to you by Angler's Coffee, fueling your next cast with amazing coffee delivered to your doorstep one batch at a time. Use Brew20 and receive 20% off your first subscription order. By Got Fishing, crafting world-class fly fishing adventures specially designed to your level of experience and budget. By Trout Routes, the #1 fishing app, helping trout anglers avoid the crowds and explore new public water. Download it today in the App Store and get 20% off using promo code DESTINATION20. And by Adams Built Fishing Gear, the trusted source for quality fly fishing gear built to last at an affordable price. Up next on The Destination Angler, we sit down with the one and only Curtis Fleming, host of the Fly Rod Chronicles, who gives us the rundown on some of his favorite destinations, including the incredible trout fishing in his home state of West Virginia. And be sure to backcast to catch the last episode on the Bighorn River, which is fishing better than ever. My guest Scott Brown covers the Bighorn from top to bottom, including the world-renowned tailwater in Montana, the canyons of Thermopolis, and the headwaters in the Wood River Range. Plus, we cover the best sections to wade, close calls with rattlesnakes, and a guide story so gross you'll hate to love it. You won't want to miss these shows. Want to be the first to know about new episodes? Well, head on over to the Destination Angler website and sign up. And now you can catch all the Destination Angler podcasts on YouTube. That's right. We've ported all those podcasts, 125 of them, over to YouTube. So now you can listen wherever you want, including YouTube. And today our destination is the Tsimane region of Bolivia in pursuit of the savage and powerful Golden Dorado. And our guest is Marcelo Perez, founder and CEO of Untamed Angler and the Tsimane Lodge. The remote Tsimane region is deep in the heart of the Amazon jungle at the base of the Andes Mountains, hundreds of miles from civilization, where mountain streams run clear and fast, and fly anglers can sight cast to voracious Dorado reaching upwards of 40 pounds. Marcelo grew up in Argentina, fishing the jungles for Dorado as a kid. He's a trained architect, but found his passion in building remote fly fishing lodges and creating once-in-a-lifetime experiences for anglers like you and me. Listen in as Marcelo explains why Dorado are so revered and should be on every fly angler's bucket list, and the incredible story of how he carved the Tsimane Lodge from the jungles through blood, sweat, and tears. Also stories of native Tsimane people, giant Pacu, and 100-pound Maturo. Could this be the best Dorado fishing on the planet? You be the judge. Marcelo, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, my friend. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I always say at the beginning of my shows, I'm always excited to have every guest. But this is special, right? You are literally in the jungles of Bolivia right now.
I am.
And here we are.
I am at the lodge. I'm at one of the lodges, actually.
And you are hundreds of miles from the nearest city and 5 days by boat. Is that correct?
It is correct, yes. We are hundreds of miles from the nearest city, all around. There's nothing around but jungle and mountains.
I bet there's some fish out there that have never seen a fly before. Just guessing.
Yeah, I can tell you, yes.
That's amazing.
But there's a big system. It's not only the fishing. I mean, I think that we will talk about that, but the Tsimane experience here is much beyond the fishing. It's really connecting with the wilderness that is very difficult to find nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, I think of Yellowstone as being pretty wild. I like the there's an area of Yellowstone called the Thoroughfare, which is, I don't know, I think it's about 30 miles from the nearest road, but you're hundreds of miles. So
No, I can
yeah,
tell you. You also mostly, 100%, I would say, of the fishing in Tsimane is doing wading. So
waiting.
wading, it's wet wading. You don't fish from a boat. And that's what I mean with the connection with wilderness, because when you are walking in the banks of the river and you see the tracks of the animals, the jaguars, the tapirs, and all the animals that you see, all the nature around you, and there's nothing that separates you from that wilderness. When you are fishing from a boat, the boat means something that some distance between you and the nature. But when you are walking in the bank and you cross a river wading and you climb a rock and you see the fish moving around and you see the animals, and you notice exactly that you are in the middle of nowhere. You can sense it,
You're not in Kansas anymore.
No,
as we like to say
no.
here in the States.
Very far away. Very far
All
away.
right, so folks, we are going to be talking about this amazing fishery. You're just getting a little tip of the iceberg from Marcelo right now, deep in the heart of the Bolivian jungle. We're going to talk about this amazing game fish called a Golden Dorado or Dorado.
Yeah.
So Marcelo Perez, he's the founder and CEO of Untamed Angler and also Tsimane Lodge.
Tsimane.
I think I'm saying that, Tsimane Lodge in Bolivia. Also, you created a business model where you partner with an indigenous people of the Bolivian jungle and the national park system, where you operate to bring anglers deep into this jungle environment for Dorado and other species. You're from Argentina originally. You're trained as an architect. I think you used to work on supermarkets or something like that. Is that right?
Not in supermarkets, but I had my only customer was the biggest chain of supermarkets in Argentina. Yes, so I was specialized. My office was specialized in design and building of supermarkets along the 90s.
In the 90s. So here you are. We're going to talk about how you got from architect to jungle fishing lodges. Boy, that's got to be a story right there. But you've been chasing Dorado since your young age. You've also written fly fishing articles on Dorado for Spanish and Argentinian magazines.
Yep.
You've got lodges in the Tsimane region, 3 lodges there, 4 programs, and you're working on projects in the Brazilian jungle and Patagonia.
No, we also have 4 lodges or 4 operations in Brazil.
In Brazil you do?
Exactly the same model of Untamed Angling, which is the company I created. Exactly the same model. It is all of them are indigenous territories, and we have the same concept.
Okay, Africa, Patagonia, and a bunch of places that you sent me that I cannot. Not Africa.
No.
But there's an island not by the Seychelles. It's part of Africa.
Yeah. But it was Seychelles. No, it's not Africa. It's Seychelles.
That's Seychelles. Okay. All right. There we go.
The Roche Island in Seychelles Republic. Yeah.
So we're gonna hear all about all these things today. So Marcel, I've got a buddy here in Indianapolis who's been to your operation and to Tsimane and loved it. Just could not say nicer things about it. And he's like, man, you got to check this out. Hi, Ken. How you doing? It's my friend Ken here in Indianapolis.
Okay.
And, I found you on Instagram, you and your 159,000 followers. I mean, that really blew up for you, huh? And how did you do that? Was that a surprise that it took off like that?
No, it's a surprise. We just decided to film videos from the perspective of an angler, rough videos, non-edited videos with the camera here, just checking the cast, the set of the hook and the fight and the lifting of the fish and the release. And it worked a lot. I mean, I don't know why, but it was really popular and started to have a lot of followers. And in a couple of years, I reached 160,000 followers in Instagram and 176,000 in Facebook. See.
In Facebook, okay, yeah. So people are digging your videos, and I can see why.
I don't know. I think that people like it because it looks real. It's something that I thought, honestly, it's not casual. I thought about that because I think that the only fishery of Dorado where you can do this is Tsimane.
Yeah.
It's just because you have a lot of chances on side casting. So you can prepare the camera before making the cast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was like raising the bar, Because when
It's
you
exciting.
were showing just pictures, everybody can show a picture of a big dorado in any place, But if you want to show the whole scene, you have to see the fish there. If you don't see the fish, you cannot do it, because if you're doing thousands of casts in a boat, it's very difficult that you just have the cast and the set,
Yeah.
So that I think was the reason. But it worked very good. Yeah, and it's fun. I like it.
Do you?
There's a lot of people interacting and commenting, and of course, as always, some haters. But I'm used to that.
That's it. And you're filming your wife quite a bit. Isn't she one of the anglers you film a lot?
Yes, she fish for dorado too, and she also get popularity
yeah.
about the videos. Yes, we have a camera guy that is trained with us for many years, and he does an excellent job. Yeah.
So these streams, what attracted me to it was I've seen dorado being pulled out of these muddy, slow-moving streams, but what I love about what you're doing is these look like trout streams. They're clear mountain streams, and you're sight casting only these fish, or I don't know how big they get. They look like they might get 20, 30 pounds.
Yeah.
How exciting. So, I've got a lot of trout fishermen that listen to my podcast, my trout shows Do the Best.
Yeah.
Folks, this is kind of like trout fishing on steroids. It seems to me.
It would be more similar. Imagine that we are doing this. Our lodges are running. This is our 15th season. So for 15 years, we are doing this. We received so many customers from different parts of the world, especially from the States. Most of the people said to me that this is very similar to New Zealand, big fish, tiny waters or very clear waters, sight casting, that situation.
That makes sense. Right. So I want to get into your lodges in a minute, but I want to first start with Dorado. Here's a couple of things, adjectives I read about Dorado. See what you think of this. The fish of legends, sacred, untamable power, spooky, unsurpassed, savage, ferocious, ruthless carnivore, frightening, gangsters of the river, and will bite your finger off. Would you agree?
I would agree. And actually, I almost lost my fingers with one of those.
Is that right? Maybe you wrote that. I don't know. There was an article about your place.
I made a mistake, and a big dorado grabbed two of my fingers. Fortunately, with the tip of the mouth, not with the jaw.
Wow.
Because if not, I would lose it. I was trying to take it. I was so confident. I got many dorado, and I was getting too confident, dangerously confident. I was trying to take out the fly with my hands, no ply. And then I made a bad move, and two of my fingers got inside his mouth, and he grabbed it, and I couldn't take it out. It was a wound, lots of blood and stuff.
Really?
Well, speaking about the dorado, let me tell you, I think that's probably, of course, for me, is the perfect fish. It's my favorite since I was a kid. But I have some reasons to support my opinion, and if you take a look at it, it's beautiful. The salmon shape, it's really beautiful. It's the only one with these bright golden colors in the whole system. In a system in the Amazon, for example, where we have more than 2,000 species, this is the only golden brighting fish, the only one, the top predator of the system. And his behavior, I think, is so special that it took the attention of the Indians before the white people come here to America, because there's many different ethnics that have legends about the dorado. And many of these ethnics consider the fish sacred because of its quality. And of course, as you said, it's very powerful. When you set the hook, the first thing he does is jumping, out of the water like a tarpon. And then I can tell you, I've seen it many times. When we are fishing here with the Indian guys, the professional guys, the customers, and the anglers set the hook on a big dorado, and jumps out of the water for the first time, you can see the spark in the eye of everyone.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. The Indians, the customers, the professional guy, doesn't matter how many times they saw it. Everybody is like, wow.
Really?
And I think that this is really special of that fish, or this fish, sorry. This is the really special thing. It can get you, inspired for a moment.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it has a very complicated behavior. It's very adaptive. You can find Dorado in many different environments. They are very smart. Some people that see my videos, sometimes they think that the fish is basic because they see them in a feeding frenzy and they taste everything and they crush everything. And so some people think that they are like this, aggressive, and that's it. And it's not at all how they are. They are aggressive like this, like a pit bull, but they could be as spooky as a big brown. And if you line it, for example, if they are laying in a pocket water and they see the line, they go out. Oh. If you put your feet on a branch and make a noise, they go. It's
really?
Like this. Yeah. But if it's a trigger, for example, you catch a small dorado or a yatorana, which is the smallest species. You catch one of those and you're fighting it, and then suddenly from nowhere, a giant dorado appears trying to eat your fish, and then nothing can stop it. They don't care if you are there. They don't care if you are seeing it. They don't care.
Have you landed fish that have eaten fish on the line?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They don't let go at the last minute?
Well, sometimes, no. When they eat it completely, you set the hook because they eat it completely.
Okay.
And sometimes what happens more often is that you're normally fishing with a partner, with your friend or whatever. And if you see this situation, the other person casts and catch the big fish,
Oh, okay.
If he's fast enough to put the fly close to the head of the fish, he will catch it.
Oh, interesting.
We are a coffee company. It's quite literally what gets us up in the morning. The smell, the taste, the ritual.
It's been a long time since I left you.
At Angler's Coffee, we take care to ensure that the beans we use are the highest quality, ethically sourced and chosen to be delicious from the roast to your cup. French press, drip, pour over, espresso, or steeped, we have something for you. Come taste what we've been up to. You deserve it.
If it seems I've lost connection, don't send letters and don't pick up the phone.
Be sure to use coupon code BREW20 for 20% off your first subscription order. With so much information out there, it can get downright confusing and even overwhelming to find the right fishing adventure. Sorting through all the options and fees can be quite the headache. Well, not anymore. I'm super excited to introduce Got Fishing. Got Fishing is a boutique booking agency for world-class fishing adventures around the world. They ensure that you are on the exact fishing trip that meets your skill level, budget, and desired experience. Whether you're a seasoned angler or new to the sport, Got Fishing's personalized service will help you decide which adventure is the best fit for you, your group, or even your business. Worry about fees? Worry no more. With Got Fishing, you won't pay anything extra because their services are entirely free for you. You see, Got Fishing exclusively partners with highly reputable outfitters who gladly compensate them for their services, ensuring a win-win situation. Explore the range of fishing adventures and learn more about the services Got Fishing provides at gotfishing.com. That's www.gotfishing.com. And check them out on Instagram, too. Now, I've noticed in your videos that you guys are way, way back often away from the water, and you're doing a lot of double hauls to reach these fish. That's necessary. Then you can't be right on top of them, cast for them. You put them down.
No, the fact is that the rivers are narrow and small.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have more open waters, but when the river is narrow and closed, and you have the chance to do a good cast with problems in your back, vegetation or whatever, it's better if you cast far from the bank, because they are close to your bank many times. It's not like people. We have some tics from childhood that always we think that the fish is in the other bank, and it's not like this. The fish
it's
sometimes is really close to you.
Yeah.
And if you make a long cast, you line the fish and you spook it.
Yeah.
So it's better to cast from far from the bank and then start to approach the place.
What kind of habitat do they like?
Normally, the Dorado here.
Yeah.
It depends a lot on the conditions. The temperature of the water, the level of the waters, depends a lot on that. But normally, when the waters are normal, they love to be in pocket waters, like trouts. Pointing the current like a trout. That's how.
Okay.
And in this situation, the best thing is to cast upstream. You will see that many times I do it in my videos. I cast upstream and strip really fast because the fly is coming to you with the current. Normally, if you put the fly in the head of the fish, he will bite it. When they are in this situation, pointing the current in a pocket water, you put the fly correctly, they will bite it.
Okay.
And then you have to be fast. Not only for stripping, you have to be fast. Stripping the line to get the contact with the fish and set the hook. I have many comments about that. Why don't you reel in? Why do you have a reel?
You don't have time.
Use it.
Yeah.
You don't have time if it's coming to you. And then he goes to a pool. If he goes to the pool, because we are casting upstream, if he goes to the pool and takes a long ride, then you can use the reel. But if
he's on the reel then.
Yes, if not, you have to keep it. I mean, I've seen many experienced anglers losing big fish just because of the idea of putting the line on the reel, when it's not necessary to do it.
Yeah.
For me, the priority is to keep the tension and have the fish on my left hand,
Yeah.
Don't worry about the reel or nothing. If you have the chance, you can reel. If not, no way.
I think that makes sense. Right. Do they have hard bony mouths, or does the hook go in pretty well?
No, you have to set the hook. The other mistake that's very often here, I see very often here with the anglers, is that they do trout set. They leave the rod. It is not setting the hook with the left hand, and that's you lose the fish for sure.
So you got your strip set.
It's not exactly a strip set.
Oh, it isn't.
I do both. I use the hand, the right hand, and the left hand at the same time. And sometimes I walk down. I walk back if I have a chance, because it's not exactly the strip set that in salt water, for example. When you fish for tarpon, you do the strip set, but you are seeing the fish normally, and you are stripping from a boat. Here, in the situation I told you before, you strip really fast because you are recovering the line against the current.
Yeah.
Or the current is bringing the line to you. So you have to be very, very, very fast. And what if the fish turns down and bite the fly when you have your left hand back? You don't have any chance to set the hook like a tarpon, So you have to do whatever you can do. Use both hands, walk down, whatever. But you have to keep the tension and set the hook many times, because the head is a pure bone. The head of the Dorado is pure bone.
It is pure bone. All right. So if you hook 10, how many typically can you land if you're new at this?
Let's say 7.
Oh, okay. That many. Alrighty.
Yeah. If you know how to fish, of course. If you don't know what you're doing, you will lose 10.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You will lose everything.
Yeah, that's why your guides are probably patient people with people who come down there.
Yes.
So do they live in pods or school? Like trout can kind of pod up from time to time. If you find one Dorado, do you typically find another, or are they lone rangers by themselves?
It depends. Sometimes they are hunting on packs. But when they are in these pocket waters, as I told, normally they are alone. And the big guys normally are alone in a pocket, alone, close to a rock, laying there, waiting for something or for some bait to come downstream and kill it.
That does sound like New Zealand. One big guy in a pool.
Yeah.
How big do they get?
Here, I would say the biggest I've seen is 40 pounds.
40.
Biggest, yeah. But it's not the average, of course. The average here would be 15 pounds, let's say, which 15. Is very nice fish, yes.
Yeah. So what's your rod, reel, line setup?
My rod, well, I use normally a 9.
Oh, a 9, okay.
Yes. My favorite rod is the Thomas & Thomas rod. I use normally the Sextant 909 rod, but now I'm testing a prototype of the new Exocet model. The designers of Thomas & Thomas made a new model of Exocet, the SX300, which is a 9. They had before the 250 and the 350. The 350 was a little big and too stiff, in my opinion. No? But now this rod I'm testing, I had 2 of them. I think they will launch it next year, not now.
Oh, no kidding.
But they are amazing. They cast perfectly. They are very, you can make a good tight loop, and they are really strong. I was last week I was exploring a new river outside from this park in another park, and that river has really big dorado, and I pushed fish of about 30 pounds, something like this. Jeez. Without a problem with this rod. No problem. I put a lot of pressure and it worked very well. And I use macro reels. I'm using now the new tournament model, which is amazing. The best drag, I think, in the industry is incredible. The macro, incredible. It's a little heavy, but when you get used and it's a balance between your rod and your reel, there's nothing better than a macro, in my opinion. And then I use the rest of the gear is all of Scientific Anglers. The lines I use normally are the Mastery Jungle Titan series.
A jungle line, a line for jungle.
It's a line for the jungle, yes.
What do you suppose is different about a jungle line?
Well, first of all, you don't need to overweight it. You use a 9 in a 9 rod. You don't need to overweight it for a big fly. They are designed to cast big flies in tropical weather and without a lot of false cast. If you see my videos, you will notice that I don't do a lot of false cast. I do
up and down.
And that's it, up and down. Yes,
fish are in the
you
water.
have to be fast. Action here is normally, even when you see a fish in a pocket, he will not stay there for a long time. If you make noise or you move or whatever, you can lose it. So you have to be fast. You have to see the around you. If you don't have branches or whatever, and make a cast, or decide if you are making an overhead or making a back cast because of the things you have around, and then do it.
Because he'll move.
You cannot be moving the rod like this in half an hour. No, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Same happens when a fish appears into you, or when you have a small fish and then a bigger attack. You have to move fast.
Okay. Is that where the guide is kind of your eyes and ears a little bit as a customer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then normally the rest of the setup is, the leader is a straight fluorocarbon. I use a Scientific Angler fluorocarbon of 40 pounds.
40 pounds.
And the wire, you can use a 40-pound wire. My favorite is a nickel titanium wire of Scientific Anglers, which is non-coated. It's 35 pounds. And it's quite invisible because it's super thin and non-coated. It's the same knots than a coated one, but it's much thinner and it's black. So you don't see it. They don't see anything strange besides the fly. So it's good.
So you have a wire leader that goes to the fly, and I'm assuming there's some kind of a hook on the end of the leader.
Not leader, wire tip. The leader is a straight piece of fluorocarbon, and the wire is about, let's say, 40 centimeters, more or less. It's simple, but it's very effective.
And assuming these are all wild fish.
Yes, of course, it's all white fish.
Yeah, nothing, they don't stack. Okay.
No.
Huh, interesting. All right. Boy, it sounds absolutely amazing. Do you struggle finding new trout streams to explore? Tired of stumbling around country roads looking for access points? Looking to escape the crowds? Then look no further, because Trout Routes has meticulously mapped and classified over 50,000 trout streams covering the entire lower 48, including 350,000 hand-curated public access points marked and ready for you to explore. I'm a huge fan of Trout Routes because they make it so easy to explore new trout waters. Many times, Trout Routes has helped me find new public water and get into fish fast. And the good folks at Trout Routes have been busy this winter making Trout Routes even better. Enter Stream Cards 2.0, the latest iOS release that brings together more info at your fingertips by organizing data like stream flows, access laws, nearest fly shops into easily accessible tabs for every river and stream in the app. And now you can check real-time stream height and flow rates with river data from stream gauges and compare those with historical data to spot trends. Pretty cool, huh? Planning a trip? Well, you'll love the advanced filter features that let you hone in on top-rated streams, boat ramps, camping spots, and more. So what are you waiting for? Start exploring today by downloading Trout Routes on your Apple or Android phone. Hey anglers, if you're on the hunt for fishing gear that's as tough as you are, look no further than Adams Built Fishing Gear. Since 2014, Adams Built has been the go-to choice for anglers who demand quality without breaking the bank. Their lineup of lightweight waders, high-quality nets, and meticulously designed fly boxes is second to none. But here's what really impressed me. Adams Built stands behind their products like no other. Every single item is guaranteed to last. Yep, you heard that right. And get this, Adams Built waders even come with a lifetime repair replace guarantee, with you only paying for shipping. Now that's a deal you can't beat. So why settle for gear that won't last? Make the smart choice and gear up with Adams Built Fishing Gear today. Ask your local dealer for Adams Built or visit www.adamsbuiltfishing.com and tell them Steve sent you from the Destination Angler podcast. I wanted to shift gears a little bit and just kind of ask you about the region, the Tsimane region. So you picked this region. You probably could have picked lots of different places, but why did you pick this region in this national park? Why is this so great for Dorado?
Well, according to what the customer says, this is probably the best Dorado fishery on earth. And the reason is that, first of all, it's beautiful. The landscape is one of the most beautiful environments you can expect, when you come here. It's like the movie Avatar, something like this. It's like this. It's exuberant, it's overwhelming, it's beautiful. The second thing is that normally you fish for Dorado from a boat in not very clear or murky waters.
Yeah.
Here you fish wading, like if you are fishing for trout. And very difficult in another spots, in other destinations that you can fish for Dorado on-site casting. Here you fish for Dorado many times on-site casting. And the techniques, the strategies are very similar to trout fishing, So, and this is very unique. There's no other place in the world where you can fish for Dorado like this.
Yeah, I love it. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I really thought my listeners would love this whole concept. So what's the elevation where you are?
The elevation is about 400 meters, 300, 400 meters. So it's not too high.
Oh, interesting. So tell us where this region is, because you're right up next to where the Amazon jungle meets the Andes Mountains. Is that correct?
It's exactly like this, yes. Our rivers are tributaries of the Amazon. It's actually the headwaters of the Amazon, or one of the headwaters of the Amazon. And they are located in the mountain range of Eva, which is the foothills of the Andes. And this place, the foothills of the Andes, meets with the Amazon forest. So the landscape is really exuberant, it's amazing. Yeah. And the rivers, in our winter, the rivers get clear, like trout rivers. In the summer, when it's the rainy season, the rivers get murky and high, and the fish are gone. But about April, when the fish start to drop, all the bait fish come and the Dorado come and start to move upstream to find the best positions for the spawning. Normally they spawn in December. In the first high floods, they spawn.
Okay. What are your seasons then?
Our season is late May to late October.
5 months. Okay, very good. All right, so that's your winter.
It's our winter and spring.
Winter, spring. What are temperatures typically?
For example, today we are at spring. We have 35 Celsius degrees.
That's hot.
Yeah, that's hot. It's hot.
That's over 90 degrees Fahrenheit,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the minimum was about 24 degrees. So it was hot.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it rains, but just not very often,
Yeah. When you do get rain in the wintertime, do the rivers clear pretty quickly?
Yes. Depending, of course, if you have a huge rain, it will take a couple of days to get clear. But normally they clear very fast. And rains are not normally good for the customers because they know that the rivers will get murky. But after the rain, fishing gets much better.
Oh, interesting.
The system needs this refresh,
Right. Now, when we talked a month or two ago, you told me that you love the jungle, and I'd like you to talk about just why you love the jungle. What is it? We talked a little bit about just loving the wilderness aspect of it, but can you say more about that?
Yes, I can. Yes. Well, I think that was something that was in my mind since I was a small kid. I started fishing on the Paraná system in a time where it was no bridges between Buenos Aires and Entre Rios province. So we have to cross the Paraná in a balsa with my father and the car and everything. We finished in places that for me at 8 years old, it was the jungle,
Yeah.
So I felt in love with this mystery of the waters there, all the species that could be around. And then I start to hear about the mighty Dorado, like the king of all these species, So I think I would have said that the jaguar is always generating this mystery, this overwhelming situation that you feel that you are not in control of what you are doing there.
Yeah.
You have to be careful, but at the same time, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You heard all these sounds and you see animals. We have lots of encounters with animals here, with tapirs and lots of different birds. Not very often with jaguars, but we saw the tracks all the time because the jaguars are hidden in the forest. They are seeing you, you don't see them. And the fish, small bait fish are everywhere. You're walking in the river and you see lots of sabalo moving around your feet.
Sabalo is the bait fish, the primary bait fish.
The primary is sabalo. It's 60% of the biomass of the river.
Oh.
Yeah. So all the system feeds on sabalo and depends on sabalo.
And how big does a sabalo? I've heard some of them can be 3 pounds.
Yes, no, more than 3 pounds. The regular size is not that big, but it can reach even 10 pounds. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They get big, but not many get that big. Normally they are killed before because the predator fish, the birds, the cormorants, the otters, many mammals, like even the jaguar feeds on sabalo. When they are coming in shallow waters by tons, they are easy to catch. And also the Indians, the principal source of protein for the Indians is the sabalo. They have developed along thousands of years techniques to catch them on bows and arrows. So they have incredible arrows designed to catch fish and another arrows for birds and for monkeys and whatever, but the one that they use normally is the one for fish.
Huh.
And they catch very easily, 10 sabalos in 10 minutes.
So they shoot them with a bow and...
Yeah, bow and arrow.
What's an arrow for a fish look like?
It has two parts. It has a cane with some feathers, and inside the cane is a thin cane. It's a long, long arrow. And inside the cane, they put a hardwood, a black hardwood, which is the bark of a palm called chonta, which is really, really hard. And they work it like a harpoon,
Yeah.
and they tie it inside the can. So the arrow is really long because they pass through the sabalo, and sometimes they get the arrow in the sand, and they take the fish like this. Or if not, the fish is swimming with the arrow out of the water, and they can easily grab it,
Yeah. Interesting.
And the bow is done with the same wood, the chonta wood, the bark of the palm,
Yeah.
the chonta palm. Yeah.
So is this the Tsimane people?
Yeah, the Tsimane and the Yuracare. Both ethnics use the same bows and arrows, yes.
Okay.
And they are fish hunters. That's what they are.
I was reading up on the Tsimanes, and I read something about how they actually are really healthy people. Like
they are.
They've done. I think they don't die of the things that we die of, right? They might get infections and die of that, but they're super healthy people.
No, they are very healthy in terms of the health. Some studies indicate that they have the healthiest health on the planet. And I don't know if it's like this, but I think that is because of the protein of the sabalo,
Huh.
It's a lot of omega-3, and I think that's the reason. And they're always doing exercise, They are always
moving,
hunting and moving and hunting, and they are nomads and hunters basically. So they have a good health, yeah. And they are very strong. You see them; they are small people, short, but they are super strong.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
What do they think about you moving in here with all your whatever you've got going on?
We got very good friends. We trust each other a lot. Imagine, I'm here for 18 years already.
Yeah.
So they trust on me and I trust on them. The relationship and the model of work we have, same in Brazil, is based in transparency. We have a meeting once per year when the season finished. We have a meeting with all the authorities of the Indians and the authorities of the national park here in the biggest village. And we present all the numbers of the business, all our company numbers, so we know exactly how many customers we had, how much money they won, how many jobs, how much they won, how much we won, and we also can compare every year if the agreement is still fair for both,
Okay.
That's what we do here and in Brazil. Same thing. That's one of the key features of the Untamed Angling model I created many years ago, because that's why I think that's why we are here for a long time, because of this transparency. Because if not, imagine they could think anything. They could think that we are getting rich and they are not, or whatever,
taking advantage of me or something.
Exactly.
But instead, you're transparent. You show them your books, exactly how much they're making, how much you're making.
Right, we give them copies of that so they can audit. It's no problem. Huh. Yeah.
So do you hire Tsimane people for guides?
No, we don't hire it. It's not exactly like this. They work, but they are not hired by the company. They formed an Indian association between the villages, and they are the owners of the licenses. Of course, we did all the work, technically work to get the licenses for them, but what we are is their partners. We have a contract with them for long-term contract where we are their exclusive partners, but they are the owners of the licenses in the environmental ministry and in the national park authorities.
Okay.
So technically, they are not our employees. They work for the Indian Association.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Can you take me back to, I'm kind of trying to picture when you first came to the jungle and wanted to talk to these people. They sound like they're kind of on the primitive side if they're shooting fish with bows and arrows that they've made themselves. And here you are, you want to propose something that they probably can't even imagine, right? Like a high-end fishing lodge with food and wine you're bringing in, and
No, they
mean,
couldn't. No, of
I mean, how
course
did you describe all
they
this?
couldn't imagine it. Of course
No.
they were not understanding it. I think, at least not totally, but it was more about confidence. I mean, it took me 3 years to develop the licenses for the project, the first licenses, and not those 3 years were plenty of meetings with them, with their authorities in the nearest towns, with the national park authorities. So we were creating a confidence or a relationship with them before. But the other thing, which was the most important, I think, is that they were used to be cheated by people many times. Log cutters, drug dealers, whatever. Many people from outside, when they came here, they cheated them. And when I arrived here for the first time, it was about 8 years without no people, no white people. The Indians has no even IDs when I arrived here. They didn't exist for the country. And it was a 60% child mortality in the villages.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because they were isolated completely.
No medical attention or anything?
No, nothing. Just a few of them were speaking some Spanish. Most of them didn't speak Spanish those days, in 2006. And after a couple of years, when they noticed that we were not cheating them, and we were doing what we promised, and they were getting the money we promised, and they were getting jobs, and they were getting better, they started to trust more, and defend the project and defend us.
Oh, good.
And defend the borders. And
yeah, nice work.
Thank you.
That must have been difficult. So what was it like building these lodges 400 miles from the nearest city?
It was a nightmare. The first lodges were completely, now it's easier. We can do it very easier because we have all the routes across the river. We are more used to bring stuff across the rivers.
Okay.
With the dugout canoes, and it's still challenging, but it's not that challenging.
Wait, you're bringing wood on dugout canoes? Dugout canoes?
Not the wood. The wood is cut here.
It is?
The Indians has chainsaws, and we work with the local roofs, with palm roofs and that stuff. But we bring across the river, we bring the furniture and all the other stuff, the beds, the coaches, whatever. And but the first buildings, there was no routes, and nobody knew how to get here across the river. We lost a lot of stuff of the building. It was lost in the way. We never received it. Windows, doors, whatever, never got here.
I mean, it left the shipping point and never arrived.
Yeah, never arrived. Yeah, because nobody knew how to get here. Not in the city. Nobody knew how to get here across the river.
Yeah.
Now we know how to do it, and the Indians know how to. They are more used to go out. Those days, imagine they had no engines. They had just pole canoes, so they couldn't go out. They didn't know how to go out.
Right.
Now they go out, no problem. They have engines. They can go out to the nearest town and come back, no problem.
And you've lost a lodge or two, haven't you? Haven't you had some floods or something?
We lost 2 lodges. The 2 original lodges that were the difficult buildings ones were lost in 2 different floods. One in 2014 and the other one in 2015.
Wow. Okay. Tell us a little bit about the experience that you're giving your clients. You said right at the beginning, this is about more than fishing. Love to hear you talk more about that.
Yeah, well, the experience, I think, is much beyond the fishing. Because, as I told you before, when you're I think a high-end ecotourism is just what we do when we are fishing. Meanwhile, we are going from one spot to the other one. Is high-end ecotourism, because you see so many species of butterflies, birds, or plants, and the environment is so beautiful, and the fish around, and everything is overwhelming. We had let me tell you that as an example. I'm sorry if my English is not.
Your English is great. Don't worry about that at all.
Okay. In 2022, we had the visit. Well, I was called by the guys of National Geographic, the scientist side of National Geographic. Two scientists there. They were working on an expedition of the whole Amazon River, since the first drops in Peru to the last water of the Amazon in Barbados in the sea, and they choose us for the headwaters. So they come here for the first time for a month in 2022, and we brought them with a helicopter to different places, and these scientists that have been all over the world, because they are really great scientists and great photographers, especially for underwater photography. And these guys, they said that they never seen a place like this, and they couldn't understand why science is not making research of a place so untouched. They said that they didn't see a place so untouched like these headwaters. There's no humans. I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
Just the jungle. That's really, it's difficult to explain, but believe me, you can sense it. You feel it. When you are there, you feel it,
You ever been a little frightened out there in the jungle?
No.
Really?
No.
Jaguars sneaking up on you or something?
No. The first years, I was afraid of jaguars. I confess.
Yeah,
I used
first
to sleep,
year, okay.
But imagine that I was in a tent. We were exploring the river in a small tent. We were sleeping there. The Indians were afraid because they never go down so upstream in some rivers that they never explored before. We were camping in the bank of a river alone,
Yeah.
I used to sleep in the tent with a bear spray in my left hand and a Rambo knife in the right hand, and that's how it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But after a couple of years, I said, "Nah, there's no problem with jaguars here." And then
You really don't see them, you said.
I saw 3 jaguars in 18 years here. Tracks every day, but watching them, but they don't show up. It's difficult to show up to see one. But the customers, yes, they see. Sometimes they see. And a couple of weeks before, we saw 2 jaguars, and then a couple of weeks before that, we saw another jaguar. You can see them, of course, but they don't care about you.
Have you had any, wildlife encounters that people might be interested in hearing about? Like you're talking about tapirs. I'm not sure what a tapir
Mostly
is.
tapirs. Tapir is a relative to the rhino and the hippo. It's a big animal.
Oh.
It's an animal that could reach, I don't know, 150 pounds, I guess, or more.
Okay.
It's big. And this part of the year, they enter a lot in the water because of the bugs. Especially the horseflies, they kill it. So it's very easy when you do the early fishing to have in a week many encounters with tapirs, close encounters, because they don't know what you are, and they are not afraid of you.
Because they haven't seen humans sometimes?
Yes, and there's no hunters there, so they are not afraid of people.
Huh. So you've got a helicopter
2
business, right? 2. All right. So you're taking people way back in there. When you get back that far in the jungle, do you notice a difference compared to where you are right now?
Yeah, of course it's different. Yes, because here we are in a place with humans, and the Indians come here, and we fish with a canoe, with a dugout canoe. We go upstream with a dugout canoe and then fish wading, whatever. But the amount of waters we can reach with this system, dugout canoe and walking, is just, I don't know, 1% of the water of the mountains here, or
Wow.
it's nothing. So we have a lot of options. As we are fishing in the dry season, there's a lot of sand or gravel bar banks where you can land with a small helicopter.
Okay.
So what we do basically with the helicopter is You go with a fishing partner and a guide. The guide brings a Yeti cooler backpack with beverages and sandwiches, and you walk upstream the whole day. And in the afternoon, the helicopter comes to another sandbar and picks you up and brings you back to the lodge.
No kidding.
That's it. And it's about 6 different rivers and a couple of creeks we can fish with that system that are completely different because there's no humans.
Yeah.
The animals are different. The behavior of the animals, especially, is completely different. And the fish, of course, is also different.
Say a little bit more about that, about the animals and the fish. How's it different?
It's different because they don't see a human, and now they are seeing humans, but they don't see us as dangerous at all. So they are not afraid of us. Probably the fish could be a little more afraid, but the rest of the animals, no.
Yeah. So they walk up to you, like a tapir might walk right up to you.
Not up to you, but they stay and look at you. You know, if you do a fast move, probably they go out. Sorry, but if you stay and start to whistle, because they whistle, they will look at you and sniff and.
Oh, neat.
Not like a pet, of course. It's a wild animal. It's not a pet. They will not come to you.
Yeah. Marcel, tell me about some of the other fish that you fish for besides Dorado.
Oh, there's very interesting fish here. The second fish I would say is the Pacu. The Pacu is a round fish, like a permit. Actually, we call it the jungle permit. A very, very smart fish. It's black. It's a black round fish of about 20 pounds, the average, let's say, and can reach 30 pounds. And they are omnivorous. As I said, they are very, very smart, and they are incredibly strong. They put you in your backing immediately if you hook one.
Huh.
And you can catch it with fruit imitations, which is not my favorite, but because it's very difficult to cast, it's just casting a rock, it's difficult to cast that, but it's doable. Or you can catch it with a small streamer, smaller than the Dorado one, because sometimes they hunt for small fish. And also you can catch it with dry flies because they eat insects, big insects.
Okay.
And even with rats, with the mice, you can catch it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they are incredibly, and it's really visual because they are so big and black. So you see them perfectly when they are swimming around. They are very, very smart. They have a big red eyes. And if you are in still water and a bunch of them appears, you have chances. But normally they come, check the fly and refuse. Check the fly and refuse. Sometimes they take it, but it's not like a trout take, of the dry fly. They smash it.
Oh.
And when sometimes you find them in the pockets or in sand bottoms, but in fast water, when they are in fast water, they are hunting. And then you cast, could be a streamer or a dry fly, they will catch it for sure. If your cast is accurate, if you put the fly in his head, they will catch it.
Okay.
And the fight is amazing. They push so hard. I mean, you cannot stop it.
They just pull.
Super. Yeah, they go down, down, down. They don't jump. They go down, 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 and never. They are relentless.
Ah, cool. I read they've got molars versus sharp teeth. Molars.
Yes, they have like human molars. So you need to have a very strong hook. You use a light hook, they will bend it very easily.
Can you talk a little bit some more about the flies you're using for Dorado and these other species? It sounds like streamers.
Yes. Well, normally I go to the river here with the 2 rods, rigged, one with a clear tip intermediate line and a streamer, and the other one with a floating line and a dry fly or a mice. So I have both options. I can catch a Pacu if I see Pacu moving around. I have stuff for Pacu, or I can go for Dorado. With the same setup of Dorado, we can catch another species like Yatorana, The aturana is a white fish that can reach about 10 pounds maximum, but the average is 4 pounds, let's say. You can catch surbi here, which is a catfish, a striped catfish, very beautiful, but it's difficult. You have to see them laying in the sand or something, and then put the fly close to his head and let it sink, and then pass it in front of its mouth. And if you're lucky, they will swallow it. And also in the last 2 years, we started to catch the biggest catfish we have here, which is called the Maturo. It's a black catfish that can reach 200 pounds, more or less.
200.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you caught one that big?
I caught one that could be about that, yes.
Jeez.
Yes.
On a fly rod?
On a fly rod, yes.
What was that like?
It was wild. I mean, I always say that when you catch one of those on a fly rod, the worst thing you can do is to push it, because if you push it and he notices that he's hooked and runs away, you're done. You cannot stop it. It's impossible, But as soon as you keep it going and moving and going and moving and going, he move around. He doesn't understand what is happening, so they are moving around in the pool and moving around. Go away, and eventually you get it tired after 40 minutes. Probably you get it tired, and then you can put it in the sand, and your guy can push it a little bit out of the water
and grab him.
Take a picture in the sand, because you cannot lift it, of course.
Yeah.
I have a situation recently this year. I think it was this year. Yes, it was a cold day, rainy in the beginning of the season, and we were not catching Dorado. I was fishing with an Indian guy who also make many of my videos, because he was trained on filming with an iPhone. And then we arrived to a pool, and we saw like a feeding frenzy in the other side of the bank in the pool, which is not normal. Normally, we don't see feeding frenzies in a pool. Normally, it happens in the shallows. It was a deep pool, but we were catching nothing. So I made a long, long cast to that spot. It was a rock in the other side of the bank with fish movement, and I was stripping, and I set the hook. It was a small Dorado, I would say 2 pounds Dorado, more or less. And I said, I don't know. I was just keeping the line a little bit with the fish, and then a huge Maturo appeared from the bottom and swallowed the Dorado literally, completely. I mean, and after 40 minutes, I saw that the fly was in the Maturo side, in the Maturo mouth,
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened with the Dorado, if he swallowed it completely, or he killed it and then the fly getting, I don't know. I was fighting the fish for 40 minutes, more or less, and finally I landed it. It was huge. And it was another Maturo moving around my Maturo, trying to catch the food, or see what was happening. But it was huge. That fish was huge.
That is amazing.
And then I caught them, not that big, that's this fish, but big anyway. I caught them on flies. I mean, fish is laying in the bottom. If it's not too deep, you cast the fly, you pass it over his head, and then let the fly sink down to the bottom, and then strip slowly. And if you're lucky and the fly passes in front of its mouth, he'll take it. He will take it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fish that could swallow one of your customers if you weren't careful.
Probably. Yeah. No, that never happened. No, of course not. But anyway, I don't feel I don't like to swim in the pools a lot.
Yeah, right.
Knowing that these big fish are there, I don't know. But anyway,
man, that's funny.
The guys of National Geographic were doing underwater photography in pools of these fish. They were taking pictures of that fish in front of its head. Nothing happened. No.
Yeah. When you saw those pictures, you're like, oh my gosh, that fish lives in that pool. I had no idea.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know what I think. I saw the fish coming from the deep. It looks like a shark, coming. Woo.
Huge. Yeah. That's exciting.
Rabbit. Yeah, it was very exciting. It made my day. It was a
I'll
bad
bet it
day.
did.
It was raining. It was cold. We were catching nothing, and then I got a fish of, I don't know. I thought it was 200 pounds. I don't know, but certainly they can reach that weight.
Yeah, and 100% of your customers have made it out. Okay, no casualties yet, huh?
No, nothing. No, in 15 years. Imagine that we get more or less 450 customers in weekly packages per season.
Yeah. Wow, 450. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Because you've got 3 lodges. That's why. You've got a lot of places.
4 programs. Yes.
4 programs,
Okay.
yeah.
4 different programs. And in 15 years, we never had an accident or
Good for you.
with nature, with nothing.
Is there anything you would, if looking back on your, 15, 16 years, is there anything that you would do differently?
Well, the original lodges, probably, they were beautiful. I did it in spectacular places, high. They look high, but they were in situations of the river that were dangerous for the floods, in the floods, like a turn, like a bend, places where the water, if it's too high and too strong, can pass over. Probably I would do the original lodges where I did it now.
Different place,
higher, in a wreck of the river where the water can run and don't hit,
Right.
And what else I would do different? I don't know. I think it was a beautiful process.
Yeah.
Plenty of troubles, of course, but it was our learning curve. We made a lot of mistakes. We tried with many different machines here, and all of them are destroyed in the middle of the jungle, probably. I don't know. And I can say that today, the simplest machines are the machines that works here. The simple engines, long tail engines that they use in Thailand.
Yeah.
That's the one we use here because that's the best. But they are cheap. At the same time, they are cheap, but they are the best. Everybody, a maintenance guy can fix one of these easily. The propeller is cheap also. You can change it, no problem. The regular engines were a nightmare. We broke all the engines every season.
Huh.
At mid-season, we have everything broken.
Yeah, not good.
We were breaking, I don't know, one propeller per 10 days. And it was really expensive to bring it here.
My gosh.
It was a lot of different stuff like that. With the vessels, with many things. Finally, the simplest things are the best. Are what you can. Yes, the high technology doesn't work here. The jungle is very aggressive with the buildings, with the machines. I don't know, with the generators, with the pump. Everything is so humid. It's aggressive. It's not aggressive with humans. It's particularly friendly. There's not that many bugs here, not that many mosquitoes. There's much more mosquitoes in Alaska than here, believe me.
Yeah. Interesting.
No, not that many bugs. Not dangerous things, at least not here.
Yeah.
It's not like in the movies. It's not anacondas, piranhas, not like.
Right. What's the toughest thing right now for you logistically to run this place?
I don't know. It's a combination of logistic problems because, for example, we bring the fuel from the nearest city in dog canoes. We have fuel for gasoline, for the engines and the pumps. We have diesel for the generators, and we have the jet fuel. It's not the jet fuel, it's Avegas for the helicopters. All of it, we have to have a permit from the government because they are controlled substances. So we have to have permits to transport it and keep it here. And then you have to move it from the city to here. Imagine that when they come upstream, they are passing rapids. They have to take out all the charge, pass the rapid, take it on again, and like this, And we bring, the last 2 years, we have a really nice plane we are using. which is a Pilatus, a Swiss plane, which make the ride in 50 minutes, which was before in a Cessna 206 was 2 hours. And now this is a pressurized cabin, 2 pilots, much better.
So you got a runway there.
No, yes, we always had it. Yes. But we get it better. We made it better. We rebuilt the airstrips. And also we registered the airstrip under the name of the Indian Association. It was 2 years ago, I guess, that we reached it. Our airstrips are the only registered airstrips in an indigenous territory in Bolivia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We have all the licenses for everything because that's the way we work.
I'm curious, just briefly, because we're running a little bit out of time. How did you go from architect, I'm assuming in a city, to the jungle angler? How did that happen?
Oh, well, I think I always was an angler. I always was an angler since I was a kid. I always did it. But when I was working in the supermarkets, I had a special trick to finish all the buildings on time. That, imagine, the owners of the supermarket chain, they love it because for them, losing a week is a lot of money of revenue they lose. So finishing the buildings on time was really a good thing for them. I think we were 5 architecture offices that worked there or had this customer because it was a lot of work. And everybody was used to delay the inaugurations 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks sometimes, because they were really fast buildings. And my special trick was I always had scheduled a fishing trip the day after the inauguration. Okay. So I couldn't take any delay. When a contractor comes to me and say, Marcelo, we have to delay a week. No way, man.
No, because you're going to screw up my fishing.
I will. Yeah. We finish on time, always.
Because of that fishing trip. Okay. Yeah. I love it.
So I started to travel a lot, fishing for Dorado especially. And I started to write for a magazine about Dorado those days. And that made me closer with the small industry of fly fishing in Argentina. And I started to know how the lodges worked and that stuff. And I had in my mind, because of the chain of supermarkets, I had the idea of doing a chain of lodges with one concept, with the same concept. So I started to think about that those days. It was the mid-90s, something like this, end of 90s. And in 2001, I founded Untamed Angling. And I started to work on the development of my first project, which was La Zona. La Zona is a tailwater fishery in the border between Argentina and Uruguay for Dorado, for gigantic Dorado. And it took me 4 years to develop the project and get the permits. When I got the permits, I started to work harder on this and not that harder on architecture. And eventually I left it to my business partner in the office of architecture. I said, okay, I'm going. I was like a jump, and I was not young. I was 47, something like this. I was not a young boy. But I thought those days, I have to do this. It's
really?
One life. So I want to do it. I have to do it. And as soon as I got the project La Zona started, I thought more seriously about doing this and started to do it more seriously. And eventually I left the office and I started to work exclusively on this, And then the rest of the story is like, well, I was focused on getting it better and better and better and extending to Brazil with my business partner, Rodrigo Sales. And whatever. I mean, it was an adventure since the very first day to now.
Well,
I was exploring a new river last week.
Oh, were you? For a new lodge?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. There you go. You're hearing your story, Marcelo. You are really an accomplished guy. I mean, to pull this off and not give up, I mean, I got to believe there are moments when you thought, what am I doing? Or maybe not.
It was terrible. Yes, believe me. It was, yes, many times when I thought that what I am doing here, what am I doing? But I never ever had any doubt about following, about moving forward. It was like being in the middle of the river and you have to swim, But we had really crazy moments. And it was in 2011, it was a conflict between the Indians and the government because the government was trying to build a road crossing the park and the Indians were not happy with that. And it was a national conflict. And national. I mean, it was along 3 months at least. It was in the front of the newspapers.
Yeah.
For 3 months. And then suddenly we finished the season of 2011. And in November, more or less, the government finished our licenses because they thought that we were involved in the conflict with the Indians or something like this. And it took me about 5 months or 6 months working with the Indians and joining the government and trying to have meetings and coming and going and doing whatever. It's a long story, but we recovered the licenses in May of 2012 and keep going, But those days we were completely broken. I mean, we did invest it. We built more rooms, new furniture, new
expanding. I'm sure.
We spent a lot of money trusting in 2012 because we had the reserves of the next year, and suddenly we have nothing. As the conflict was international already, was in the news, everybody was calling us and writing us and saying, "What are you doing? I want the refund of the money." Blah 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 blah. We kept fighting, After that, it was 2011 and 2012. In 2013, we built the third lodge, Agua Negra. In 2014, we lost the original Secure Lodge. We have to build it in 70 days. And in 2015, we lost the original Pluma Lodge, and we have to build the new one in 60 days from zero.
And you did it.
Yes.
Jeez. Okay, 100 years from now, how would you like to be remembered?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I would like, just because you are asking, I would like to be remembered as somebody that did something for Dorado fly fishing. Just something. I mean, I think that before La Zona, when we started La Zona, Dorado was barely known in the international market, in the international industry. And now, I would say it's in the bucket list of most of the anglers.
Yeah.
And I think we are responsible for that, at least in a big part.
You are. It's fantastic what you've accomplished, really. It's just quite a story. And I always have to ask people about the food. So tell us about the food at your lodge.
Well, the other challenge, that's a challenge that we imposed to ourselves, was to provide a high-end service in the middle of nowhere. This is a contrast that most of the customers, I would say 100% of the customers appreciate a lot. Because they, as I said before, when they are fishing, they understand perfectly, immediately, that they are in the middle of nowhere. And the wilderness is overwhelming. But it's very nice to come back and have a hot shower, a good bed, a good bathroom, really good food. We have chefs on each lodge, and we have international food here. We bring all the food from Santa Cruz in planes, and bring an Argentine Malbec or a Cantanat, or we have bartenders that make drinks and appetizers and all that stuff, and we have AC in the living rooms.
Really?
Just in case, yes. So when you come back, I mean, you take a shower and you go to the living room to take some snacks and drinks with your friends and show the pictures of the day, and that's, as I said, a contrast that is very much appreciated.
Yeah. And now I'm sure people have known this before, but now people know how special that shower is.
Oh yeah,
That was a lot
it's
of
very special.
that was a lot of blood,
You know,
sweat, and tears for that guy to take that shower.
It's difficult to explain that sometimes because most of the people imagine that you come to the jungle and you will be sleeping in a tent and no shower at all, or a little bit in the river like this, and that's it. And the whole day wet and dirty. No, we have laundry every day. You put your clothes in a basket, and the next day you have it in your bed.
Really? Oh my gosh!
All the accommodations are single rooms. Double fishing, but single accommodation, so you are alone in your room. Whatever. And we have good internet. You can watch a movie at night in your room.
Well, we are recording YouTube right now from the middle of the jungle, 400 miles from La Paz and wherever else.
Yeah.
So what about shore lunches? That's what we call them in the States. It's the lunches that you pack for your clients and as they go off and fish during the day. What do you guys like to do for those lunches?
Normally, it's a cold lunch because we don't come back for lunch to the lodge. So we bring, it's different. In the regular program, we use a dugout canoe to move from one spot to the other one. And then we have a Yeti cooler in the dugout canoe with cold beverages and ice and stuff, because we have a system of filters in the lodges, in all the lodges, in Brazil too, that takes water from the river and make it like a mineral water, no? So we have this connected to an ice machine. We have a lot of ice, no problem with that. So we fill all the coolers with ice, and you have cold beverages along the day. And some in the regular program, we can put a table and some chairs, and then in a shade you have lunch comfortably. In the helicopter, it's different because the helicopter can take 3 people, so it's 2 anglers and a guide, and the guide is bringing this Yeti cooler backpack, so there's no chairs and no tables, and it's about, sometimes it's tacos, sometimes it's sandwiches in a tupper, and ice and cold beverages there. That's the lunch.
Tacos and sandwiches for lunch. It sounds good.
Yeah, but in the heli.
In the heli.
Yes. In the regular programs, the lunch is more elaborated,
Yeah. Now, Marcelo, if I came down there, I really like IPAs. Do you guys keep IPAs on handy for people? You know what IPA is? It's a type of a beer.
No, I don't have IPAs here. No,
you don't have IPAs?
No, sorry. We have a Bolivian beer that is beautiful.
A Bolivian beer, okay.
Oh,
I could suffer through that.
The Paceña beer in Bolivia, it won a couple of World Cups in Germany.
Oh, really?
Very good beer. Very good, I can tell you.
All right. So you got beer. Okay, good to hear. I'm sure you got wine too. You mentioned Malbecs and some others. Very good.
Yeah.
Man, Marcelo, it's great having you on the show. If there's one thing you want people to know about your operation or Dorado, what is it?
I would say it's something that you have to do at least once in your life. Believe me, there's no other place like this.
I'll second that.
Absolutely.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You can fish more or less, it doesn't matter. But 100% of the people that come here, they say there's no place like this.
I'm sure. Thanks for being on the show. It's great.
No, thank you, my friend. It was a pleasure to chat with you.
You bet. How can people get in touch with you?
Okay, we have a website and an email and stuff in our contacts. My Instagram site is Jungle Angler, and also my Facebook site is the same. And the website is tsimanelodge.com. So there's many ways to connect.
There you go. Wish you extraordinary success in all your adventures to follow, Marcel. I'm sure they will be many.
Thank you. And I hope so.
I do too. Folks, thank you for listening to another episode of the Destination Angler. This one was really special. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be sure to post Marcelo's contact info on the Destination Angler show notes. And hopefully he'll send me some really great pictures of the scenery and Dorado and some videos that he's doing.
We'll
get those out on.
I promise. I will send it to you. Okay.
All right. Good.
Thank you so much, my friend. Take care.
Yep. Folks, you can DM me or email me with comments and suggestions at shaig@destinationanglerpodcast.com. If you like the show, please share it with a buddy. That's how we spread the word about the Destination Angler podcast through you folks. As always, our music is by our brothers Fountain. Hope you enjoy the show, and we will see you again soon. Tight lines, everybody.
Well, I'll go from the land to the shining sea. But I know there's more to life than what the eye can see.